announced the 100 most influential people of 2025. Wait, why is Blake Lively there?
Hollywood just exploded after Blake Lively scammed her way into Time's 2025 most influential list using glorified PR stunts and fake activism.
Blake Lively slammed for disgusting and embarrassing inclusion on Time 100 most influential people list.
From flaunting plantation fashion to signing photos of her own stunt double, nothing was real. And now, she's busy scrubbing the internet like we wouldn't clock the cover up. So Blake Lively is a titan now? A titan of what exactly? Delusion? PR manipulation? Or plantation-themed fashion? Because Time magazine really sat down, looked at Joe Rogan, Serena Williams, Simone Biles, Mark Zuckerberg, and then just yeeted Blake Lively into the lineup like that makes even an ounce of sense.
So yesterday the news broke that Blake Lively is one of the most influential people in the world. She is on the top 100 list that Time magazine released.
Like imagine going to a Beyonce concert and being told Blake's opening. That's the level of delusion we're dealing with. And the best part? The person who wrote Blake's Little Time tribute, Sherilyn Ifill, literally admitted she's never even watched Gossip Girl. She's never seen Blake at the Met Gala, never experienced the full force of Blake's quirky, rich lady aesthetic. But somehow, she thinks Blake Lively is a philanthropist and a civil rights leader. Yeah, that's not satire.
The funniest thing is that the reason why Blake Lively is on this list is basically because she's a philanthropist and she gave, I think it was $2 million. There's different numbers everywhere. Somewhere it said only $200,000.
That's the actual write-up. If this was a skit on SNL, I'd still be like, okay, that's a bit too far, tone it down. But no, this is real. Time magazine straight up called her a civil rights leader. The internet had a collective aneurysm. People compared her inclusion to Time's previous winners. You know, Hitler in 1938, Stalin in both 1939 and 1942, and Ayatollah Khomeini in 1979. Yep, Blake just joined that Hall of Fame. Not a red flag, an entire damn color guard.
She was listed between Serena Williams and Simone Biles, and what they say about her is that she is a civil rights leader, which is so offensive.
Now let's talk about why she really got on that list. Was it for acting? LOL. Was it for leading movements? Double LOL? No. It was for writing a fat check. $2 million donation she and Ryan Reynolds handed over to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund after the internet slapped them across the face for something they tried to sweep under the rug. And if you think that was some selfless humanitarian moment, please. This was textbook reputation CPR, because we're not forgetting. Oh, trust me, we remember. 2012, Boone Hall Plantation. That's where our civil rights icon, Blake Lively, decided to get married, on a literal slave plantation in South Carolina. Like, yeah, nothing says "till death do us part" like celebrating love where people were literally whipped into forced labor. At the time, nobody blinked.
It's very clear what it is. The slave house, all of it. It's all very clear. Anybody who goes there, anybody who calls this place, it's not like they hide it from you. You have to be pretty dumb to not understand what actually happened there.
But flash forward to 2018, Ryan Reynolds tweets, "Wakanda forever." The backlash was full scale. Ryan Reynolds had to issue an apology, calling their wedding impossible to reconcile.
He and Blake decided to get married at the Boone Plantation in South Carolina. That's where they got married. There's no slaves in that plantation right now, but you know, it was all about history, the braids. Were there ever slaves here? Did bad stuff happen here? How dare you get married here?
But let's not forget the real kicker. Blake said nothing, because saying nothing is kind of her superpower until her PR team tells her it's time to cry into a $5,000 pillow for a People magazine cover.
And people were outraged. And I'm not kidding, I'm showing you this headline from NBC News. It says, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively apologize for plantation wedding. Now this is published in 2020.
And when things got ugly and people were genuinely calling them out, Blake and Ryan whipped out the good old celebrity playbook. Throw money at it. That's when they made their now infamous donation to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. 7 years after the wedding. Light girl, don't act like you suddenly discovered social justice. This wasn't a moral epiphany, It was PR triage.
She's here because she made a contribution of $200,000 to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund amid criticism for previously having their wedding on a former plantation.
And that brings us to the most hilarious part of this scam. How much did they actually donate? Reports vary from $1 million to $2 million. It's like a donation lottery. Time magazine seems to be quoting the $2 million figure, probably just to make her seem more generous, like she donated her organs while she was at it. But let's ask the real question, what did that $2 million actually do? Because the donation was filed under general organizational support, which sounds super noble until you realize that's basically code for cutting paychecks. And guess who was getting those paychecks? Sherilyn Ifill, the same woman who wrote Blake's glowing Time piece, was reportedly making over $700,000 a year. And the person who took over afterward, still banking nearly $500,000 annually? Oh, but yes, Blake's the civil rights leader. Right. She donated money that went straight to a salary, and suddenly, we're supposed to believe she's on par with Simone Biles? Let me put this into perspective. Blake and Ryan donated that money back in 2019. The plantation wedding was in 2012.
What happened in 2019 was that Blake and Ryan were once again in desperate need of good PR. And I will say this time it wasn't their fault.
They didn't make the donation out of sudden guilt. No, they waited 7 years, until the George Floyd protests blew the lid off every performative celebrity. That was the cultural moment where silence was violence and Instagram squares turned black. So of course, they had to do something. And by something, I mean, write a check, take some filtered pics, and hope the timeline forgets. But Time magazine didn't name her influential back then. Nope, they waited 6 years until 2025 to suddenly say, hey, remember that thing you did when your brand was imploding? Let's slap a crown on you now. A 6-year delay. Nothing says timely honor like digging up a donation from a previous decade and calling it relevant because you're desperate to seem inclusive. Let's be honest, this isn't recognition, it's image resuscitation.
That seems unlike them. They would, keep donating money to make themselves worthy. This whole thing is just shocking to me. It's shocking to me.
And where are the receipts? Not the PR statements. The actual receipts? No one has published a breakdown of how that $2 million was used. No program records, no transparency, just vague talk about organizational support. For all we know, she might have spent more on her Met Gala shoes than on actual community uplift.
100 of this year as a Titan for a donation they made that they were using to cover their own racism, and now they're suddenly 6 years later a Titan of the year.
Blake didn't make that list because she changed the world. She made it because she got caught, paid off the embarrassment, and waited long enough for some desperate media execs to repackage her as inspirational. It's like someone burning down a house, then donating a candle and getting praised for bringing the light. And this is who Time wants to shove between Serena Williams and Simone Biles? Women who trained their bodies into literal machines and broke global records? Meanwhile, Blake gets a photo shoot and a checkbook moment and gets called a Titan. If that's not the most Hollywood elite nonsense, I don't know what is.
And the reality is, they did give $2 million to fund social justice initiatives with the NIC. I guess after that donation, they were pressed up to give more, and so they both each gave $1 million each.
The moral of this whole section? Blake Lively didn't earn her way into anything. She bought it. And the fact that people are expected to applaud that, nod politely, and pretend like this is normal? Nah. This is what happens when a mediocre starlet with the world's most curated Instagram feed tries to cosplay as a humanitarian to dodge the stink of her past. And we're not letting her get away with it this time. The internet, rightfully, lost it. Screenshots flew. People were like, are you kidding me? And I mean, how many chances does Blake need to not embrace plantation culture? We had the plantation wedding, then the NAACP donation PR cover-up, and now, drumroll, plantation couture. This woman could walk into a Klan rally and think it's a Bridgerton-themed garden party. Blake's support is evaporating, Comments Limited, Allies MEIEA, and Ryan Reynolds fan pages are her last cheerleaders. Meanwhile, her courtroom credibility is toast. How can someone claim emotional trauma in court while strutting around Time as a dream maker next to Zuckerberg? And now, it ends with justice. Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively is in production because people have had enough. Enough of her plantation-era spin jobs, white guilt fashion statements, and strategic fan service. Her legacy is on life support, and the karma clock is ticking. She wanted a voice? Congrats. We're all listening now,